Welcome to case viewing number 2. Today we'll be looking at Halo Wars. This is also another concept. I'm not doing this video yet, but I'm still trying to figure out how to do my case viewings in an entertaining way. So the last one was definitely a little too boring. I think some more editing would help with that. Also, if I moved at a faster pace, as a challenge to myself, I picked a game that had a very long manual to go over. But this is test number 2, so let's just get right into it. So here's the case. It's another Platinum Hits game. Today we're going over Halo Wars. You can see a bonus content badge. That's not included because this is a pre-owned copy, and that bonus content was already redeemed, so the card that has the code on it isn't included. So that's an unfortunate thing about buying these pre-owned games from the 7th generation and onward, is you don't get those cards very often. There's a view of the spine. Here's the back. See, we have a pre-owned sticker from GameStop. A lot of these pre-owned games, of course, went through GameStop at some point. Take control of the Halo universe. The year is 2531, 20 years prior to the events of Halo Combat Evolved. The Covenant have found something on the planet Harvest. The UNSC ship, Spirit of Fire, is sent to investigate and stop whatever the enemy is up to. What the crew finds could be the only thing that stands between humanity and certain annihilation by the Covenant. Command large armies, lead them into battle, control their every move, and use their abilities to gain the upper hand in combat. Your strategies are infinite. Fight a powerful and dangerous enemy. Call in support and turn the tide of battle. Attack with ground troops and airborne forces. Complete collection includes game add-ons previously available on Xbox Live. We're not going to look at these too much because they're not included, but there is DLC for this game, but mostly only applies to the multiplayer, so that's not that big a deal because who's playing this in multiplayer on Xbox 360 in 2024. Inside of the case, my cat. So like I said, the reason I use this for the second concept is this manual is very big, so it's going to be a bit of a challenge to get through and organize in editing. The left side there is pretty boring, just your usual preliminary information. I like that the right side is a manual, as if it's an in-game manual in the universe of Halo rather than, a manual for the video game. So I think that's pretty cool. Here you have the characters in the game, but we're going to explain that once we get there, so we're not going to read this. HUD explanation. This being an RTS game, the controls get rather complicated, and that's one of the reasons this manual is so long, is because RTS games on console are, well, not the norm to say the least. More explanation on controls. Here, this explains the rock, paper, scissors system the game has. To simplify this game for people that have not played RTS games before, there's only 3 basic types of units. So there are land vehicles, which are good against infantry, and those are good against air vehicles, are good against ground vehicles. There's some explanation on how many units you can have at a time, how to build bases, more on building bases and what you can do with those bases, resources used to buy things such as bases, units, add-ons to your bases, etc. Multiplayer, that's probably dead, more multiplayer stuff. Starting a co-op campaign, Xbox Live explanation, more multiplayer information. There are different leaders in the game, each one has their own ability. This is the explanation of that. Same thing here. You can't tell, this game gets kind of complicated, and I remember not liking it too much as a kid because it was a little too confusing for me personally, especially when I was expecting a Halo game. Different buildings you attach to your bases, even more buildings you attach to your bases. You may also notice there are different notes throughout the manual, kind of like this was an actual manual someone in universe owned and has taken notes in as they went through, say, their studies in school. Kind of reminds me in school, if you got a textbook somebody else used, you would find notes or whatever in it. Only instead of penises, there are actual notes. More buildings. You command your units from a spaceship. This is the explanation of that. Also the abilities that that spaceship has. The different types of infantry units available to you. Even more infantry units. Ground vehicle units. Even more ground vehicle units. A mobile base available in some missions in the form of an elephant, as well as a support vehicle in the form of the Gremlin. Different aerial units. And then what do you know, there's even more stuff for the Covenant. The Covenant leader, the Prophet of Regret. Another Covenant leader. The Arbiter, buildings for the Covenant, more of that. Covenant infantry, the last of the Covenant infantry, the Brute, and also their vehicles. These ones are the ground vehicles. More ground vehicles, including the strongest one, the Scarab. Covenant aircraft. And then finally we make it to the warranties and all that sort of stuff. And the back has the controls on it in case for some reason you already forgot.